Gundam.tk presents Wing Gundam 0. What's up everybody, Robert184 from Gundam.tk with part 2 of my Wing Gundam 0 review, the high grade 1/100th version. Remember, there is no master grade yet of this. Don't forget to check out part 1 for all the parts and details, but let's put this together now. Putting it together couldn't be any simpler, just attaching the waist section to the polycap there, and then plugging the legs in here. You can see the polycap inside. Line the polycap on when you're putting on the shoulder, but you'll notice that this can be a little bit loose there, and the head has a single polycap there. Line that up and just pop that onto the neck. Again, you'll notice the shoulders are a little weak, as I will demonstrate by banging on the table. Yeah, that's not a good sign. Without weapons yet. To plug in the quote wings, you'll notice that there's 3 pegs there, and it's just going to plug into the back. And when it's all put together, here you have Wing Gundam 0. Again, this is the high grade 1/100th. And anyway, my first impression, colorful, is basically the white and the blue and the red go together really well, especially with the red feet and the red in the waist armor. And you'll notice that the shoulder just fell down if you heard that. And while I know we can adjust them, I'm not crazy about the way the wings look. They're too small, it looks like, overall, and again, they don't quite jive with what I remember from the anime. But the regular Wing Gundam seem to have a better proportion of wing to body size anyway. In terms of posability, the first thing that you'll notice is the general looseness of the kit. But anyway, if you bring the skirt armor up, you're able to bring the legs up and bend them 90 degrees. The ankles, as I said, move this much, not a lot, and they do spin around a little bit. The arms, if you swing the wings to the back, which I've just dislodged that, they do spin all the way around. You can move around the elbows. In terms of the flat foot stability test, which is copyright by Gundam.tk, I'm totally making that up, you'll notice that as soon as you bring the legs apart any real distance, that they're going to start to go up, so you will notice a lack of stability in the legs, although the back is not causing any weight problems so far that I've noticed. Front to back, yeah, you can see it pulling up back there, but not too bad front to back. For size comparison, we have the 16 meter, remember this is 1/100th, meaning it should be 16 centimeters tall, up against the standard 18 meter height of the 00 Gundam. But you'll notice that their heads are not that far different, so I think Bandai cheated a little bit in the proportions, and this is a little bit taller than it should be. Here it is next to what I believe is a 17 meter. In this case, we have the Astray red frame from the Seed mangas anyway. And this is the new master grade, and you can check out its review, but you'll notice that the Wing 0, the head height is almost the same. But when you look at the proportions, that screams 1990s, and that screams well made. And here's the Wing 0, the mid-season upgrade, next to its predecessor, the Gundam Mark II. And you'll notice that the heights are probably similar if I put the legs in the same position. When you're arming this guy, you can get the Buster rifles. Again, there's no pegs or anything on the wrist or on the palms here to keep this in place. But because the wrists are more stable, you're going to have more luck with him than you did with the Gundam Wing. When you plug in the rifles here, you're going to get the embarrassing effect. First of all, in this case, you'll notice that the arm just wants to fall down from the weight of the weapon, and it doesn't really want to stay up in any sort of useful position for posing anyway. And on this weapon, you'll notice that because the trigger here is very weak, so even if you bring the arm forward, you're going to have the rifle pointing up, and then it's going to fall down on this bending point here. The shield plugs into the forearm with no difficulty and can go on the left or right, but again, with the shoulders always falling down with the weight, yeah, not much luck in holding that up. Next, I've combined the Buster rifles here into the Twin Buster rifle, which, despite just being a big ugly block, there should be a lot of colors in that. You could fix that with some paint. But again, once we have that on, yeah, the same problem here, and I never used to have that problem, so it seems like this is getting looser over time. Now, I'm no good at posing, and they don't give you any ideas on the box, which usually indicates poor posability, but I wonder if that's not the coolest pose that you'll be able to pull off with him. Doesn't look all that bad, although you'll notice that I didn't do lining inside the wings on the back. Now how about the transformation? Here it is in mobile suit mode, and let's transform it into the Neo Bird mode, which really doesn't look that good on first impression anyway. To begin the transformation, you'll swing the wings to the back, and they do sit back there at 90-degree angles, which I should have mentioned earlier. Spin the head around, and then you're going to bring up this white part here, turn the hands into fists, and then just bend the shoulder down. So nothing too fancy with the arms here. They're not going to turn into bird claws or anything like the original Wing Gundam. Here, you're actually just going to bend the knees, and you've got to just get them around that bend there. And once you do that, this is how they should end up looking. And then once you've done that, you're going to split open this back leg, and you're going to twist the foot around and bend it all the way inside. And once you've done that, I made a mistake earlier when I said that nothing moves in the foot. If you pull this back, actually, the thruster goes back there. Seal that up, and this is apparently how the legs are going to look. You may have noticed earlier the wings falling off on me, and yeah, they're really not staying on as well as they could. But anyway, you'll bend them down, and if you open up these things, as mentioned earlier, and slide them apart, these two parts are going to sit beside each other. It may just be easier to take them out before you do that. And then you'll bend them down, everything's going to fall apart, and you'll end up with this kind of effect. The next step is to take the Buster rifles here and plug them into the shield on either side. You don't have to do anything with the shield. And then similar to the Wing Gundam, you'll notice that there's two lines there. Those are going to plug into the back of the backpack and cover up the face. And here we have it in Neo Bird mode. And you can sort of get an effect of it here. It's not as bad looking as I expected. It does feel very loose. And I had to cheat with the legs and bend them down a little bit because without those 2 points of contact on the back, all it's doing is balancing on the green jewel on the chest, so it's just going to end up rocking from left to right, and it doesn't feel stable at all. But overall, it does hide the body of the Gundam surprisingly well, although you're going to have a little bit of a hard time lining up the wings and getting them in just the right place. And the effect parts are a little bit different because they don't sit straight down, they are sort of bent off to the side. Those are going to plug into the front of the red part of the shield. I wonder, does Sony Vegas have any whooshing sound effects that I could add now that the green parts are on? So I have to say that I'm not as crazy about this Neo Bird mode as I was about the Bird mode of the original Wing Gundam, and a lot of that just has to do with the stability. Believe it or not, I thought the ornamental claws at the bottom of the Wing Gundam were just for decoration, but you can line them up just to give it that little bit of stability so it's not always rocking back and forth the way this one is, because they had the brilliant idea of just having it pivot on a round jewel on its chest. And the effect parts really don't have the same effect, and the wings don't really look like wings. Anyway, everybody, thanks for watching part 2 of my review of the 1/100th Wing Gundam Zero. Stay tuned for part 3 to hear my final verdict on this kit, and especially if you've built it yourself, I'm really curious to hear what you have to say. Robert184, gundam.tk. Rate, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching, everybody. And besides the fact we get movies, did you know that I will have 3 mobile suits by the time all is said and done? And I had 2, 3, 2.5. Oh,